Hello you lovely lot, and welcome to the beautiful Partridge Lakes fishery. I'm going to say it's the first one of these we've done here. No it's not, I'm lying, because we've done gold, haven't we, when I was slightly hungover last time. But we are on Holbar Lake today, where we're going to be going through all things castery, you know, keeping your swim going whilst feeding lots of casters and hopefully getting snarled up in lots and lots of silvers. The beauty of this lake here, the Special Lake Holbar, is that it's full of roach, folks. Honestly, the roach fishing on here is to die for. Loads and loads of pristine, immaculate roach that get overlooked obviously through the summer when people are fishing for the carp on the pellets and all that. These roach and hybrids and skimmers just get bigger and bigger and bigger, so it's amazing. I'm only going to be fishing one sort of line today on your like traditional top kit in 3 sections on, so roughly around sort of 7-8 meters. You know, do what you want on your long line, put some ground bait in, tap some pellets in, but this short line, this is where I want to be sort of ticking over all day, if you like. Not a line that I'll be starting on necessarily. I'll be starting off long, but constantly I'll be loose feeding, getting loads of fish there and looking to catch fish on a number of rigs, usually sort of like around 3 rigs. And they are one for sort of fishing through the water on a tapered rig, one for getting job done if the fish is a little bit colder, fish are feeding hard on the bottom, getting straight down to them, and then obviously my favourite one for fishing up in the water, up to like sort of half depth. We'll talk through rigs in a sec. We've got just over sort of 4 foot, 4.5 foot today, and then we'll go through baits. But first things first, let's go through rigs. So we're going to go through, how am I going to do it? I'm going to go from sort of positive to like through the watery to like up in the water. So positive rig first, then let's come to elastics. Now what you've got to consider, folks, we are middle of October, so it's only going to get worse, that weather, it's going to get colder. You've got to make sure your elastics are up to the job. All too often I see anglers using too heavy elastic. Richard's got better actually, he's starting using lighter elastic, but for me, certainly when roach are the main quarry, a single 6s elastic through a top 2 is amazing. You know, cushions absolutely everything, and it's stood the test of time, this elastic, folks. It's cheap as chips. You get 3 top kits done on 1 spool of elastic, you know what I mean, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts. So the original 6s slip from Preston is probably the bestest winter elastic in the whole wide world. So that's what we've got through. Attach it how you want to, folks. You know my preferred way of connecting it is by putting, in fact I'll show you, let me pull that off first, by putting the loop of line over the elastic, pull it back onto the knot, and then with your connector, well, this is a Dacron bead, it's the smallest Preston Dacron bead, take the Dacron out and that just goes back over the knot, and it's just lovely and neat. But you know, whatever you want to use, plastic connectors, your Dacrons, whatever, don't let that bother you. So onto the rig itself then. Main line for everything this time of year, folks, don't go any heavier than 0.16. There's no need to. We're not after carps. If you catch a carp, you catch a carp. You know, we are after silvers and silvers only. So 0.16, because we're not going to be going any heavier than like a 0.10 up length either. So just fish a nice sort of like robust line. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going too light on the main line, because that's when tangles will occur. So go to 0.16 and you'll not have any trouble with that. As always, we've got 2 back shots just above the float. Now, I'm not going to put a plummet on today, folks. We all know how to plummet. Literally every single rig when I'm roach fishing, because we're on a slope here, is to the middle of the body of the float. What I will do more so with roach fishing than any other species of fish is constantly play around with float. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking like 1 inch, 2 inches off, you know, looking to catch them dead depth or just slightly off, going a little bit further over if we've got windy, undertowy conditions. But it does make a big difference if you're constantly sort of like changing them depths to target them bigger fish. So this is my positive rig, folks. This is for like when it gets really good, fish are feeding on the bottom, getting straight down, getting job done. 414s, F1 fine. Now why use an F1 fine and not an F1 maggot or an F1 pellet or something with a thicker bristle? It is what I've just mentioned, all about that bristle size. Yeah, certainly sort of like with roach fishing or even F1s, you're going to catch F1s on this rig as well, folks, and carps. You're going to catch everything on it. Look at the ducks, go on the ducks. You've got to make sure you're using a finer bristle. Even like going up to 1.5, that will just stop you catching these like real big, wise, clever fish, certainly silvers wise. So make sure 1.2 mil bristle. Carbon stem as well, or wire. I'm not going to say it makes a blind bit of difference. I suppose on my other rigs it will do, yeah, when you're watching that rig, that float through the water, but not on this one where I'm just going to get straight down, get job done. So you can see there, that's the depth we're at. So that 5 foot, 4.5 foot. So we're just sort of like getting on for 4.5 foot, yeah? So 414s in that, and we've got a bulk of number 8, so 5 number 8s there, folks, just over 12 inches, so you can see how positive we are. And then we've got 2 number 9s on a 4-inch hook length, and hook wise on everything we have got an 18s SFLB to 0.9 hook length, 4 inches. No need to go any longer than that. What I will say though is, you know what I'm like for using, just put this rig down for a sec, folks. You know what I'm like for using hook length straight out of the packet. I'm going to say, again, for like this time of year, it's still not gone proper cold. Yeah, we've had a couple of frosts overnight recently, but the daytime temperatures, it's getting to, well, it's sort of 18 degrees as we speak, but it's going colder and colder. It's not going to make such a difference using your hook straight out of the packet, like your 18s to 0.11 SFLB, which the Preston ones are. You will catch on them, but the colder it gets, you must use finer hook lengths. 100% it makes a difference. So I'm not on about 0.8, you don't really need to go that light, but certainly 0.9 and 0.10, make sure you're tying some by hand, because there's none out there that come through a packet that go light enough, and it will make a big difference for you. Went off on a bit of a tangent then, didn't I, folks? But it will make a big difference for you. So that rig for getting job done, this is the one that I'll always start off on. I'll just take you back up here. So exactly the same elastic, single Preston slip, same main line, 0.16 with a back shot on, but this time, folks, slightly lighter flow. Exactly the same pattern, F1 fine, but spat everywhere then, but a 412s. Now while we've got this shotted, little babby 12s start under the float, just to bring that down. We've got it dotted right down. How we've got this shotted is that tapered shotting that, you know, we bang on about all the time, and what a difference it makes, folks. So there's 18 inches, so them shots finish around 16 inches. And then we've just got a series of 4 number 9s, and then we've got number 10s coming down the line. So basically that's getting down nice and quick. Then in the bottom third, where you'd expect all these lovely fishes to be, that's where we're getting our bites. And what we'll be doing with this is holding a tight line to the float, watching that float come in, and then not leaving it too long, maybe moving it, lifting it and dropping it. We can see what it's like when we get fishing, but not leaving it too long before we lift the whole rig out, lay it in again. And then we're going to experiment with that, folks. We're going to be flicking it past, flicking it to the right, flicking it to the left, see what's happening. And then on the business end, again, exactly the same hook length, an 18s SFLB to 0.9, 4 inches. Yeah, so that's that rig. And my last one, because obviously when we get fishing, it's going to be interesting to show you what I'm looking for, the signs on the float that I'm looking for, to see if they will come onto this rig. And this should do, folks, today, with it being that little bit milder, the shallow rig. Exactly the same elastic again, folks, and you might even want to, when it's proper cold, drop down to a 5s elastic. Certainly if you're fishing that shallow water. Obviously this is set around 2 and a bit foot at the minute, is it? Yeah, sort of 2 and a bit foot at the minute. But when you're catching fish in that shallower water up to sort of like, say, 4 foot, a lighter elastic will make a difference, because they don't come to the top as quick. So get ready to change when it's really cold. But as an all-round elastic, 6s is the one. Now, again, you can see that with my shallow rig, how much line I've got pulled up to float there. A good sort of 2.5 foot. 0.16 again, folks. Two number 8 back shots just above it. But it's this bit here. Yeah, dead light flow. It's only a 4B8s, and we've got 4 number 11 stots down the line. I've got a little babby 12 underneath the float, and you can see where we've set it at the minute. So we've set it just over 2 foot, nearly on 2.5 foot, and we've got a series of number 11 stots spaced evenly down the line. Now, on the other rigs it was shots, because I don't want them to move. Anything that you want to move, always use stots, because they won't damage your line. Hook length, exactly the same again, folks. 4 inches, 18s, SFLB. So then there are 3 rigs to cover absolutely everything. What I'll be doing, and what I always do, starting off wise, is start off on a tapered one. Yeah, so lay that rig in, 2 lots of casters round it, and see what's going on. Obviously, you can see this in real time when we get fishing in a bit, folks. And then if I feel as though there's a lot of fish there, but not many through the water, I'll try and pin them down, rather than sort of like try and draw them up, because the colder it gets, they do want to be on the bottom. But having said that, if you've got a lot of silverfish in the venues, certainly roach, eyed, big hybrids, skimmers in fact, they will 100% they'll come shallow. The deeper the water, the better they will come shallow, because the water tends to be that little bit warmer. So them in the rigs we talked through. Bait wise, just keeping it dead simple here today, folks. So we've got some casters, These are 2 weeks old and they're still going strong, folks. Yeah, casters will last for ages and ages this time of year. I've got just over a pint in there, lovely casters, and you can see we've just got a little bit of water on them. So basically, once I take them out of the bucket, give them a good soak of water, drain a little bit off, and just leave them in water. So that's what we're going to be feeding. What I've also got is some casters that I've just got in another tub, completely dry. Now these are going to be me hooking casters, if you like, certainly for fishing up in the water. They just go that little bit tougher, they go a little bit crispier, and it's the dark casters that I'm looking for. You know, things like these ones here. Yeah, nice sort of dark ones. Them Roach love them dark casters. So that's what we'll be going on for, them the hooker ones. And also, you know how much I love maggots, folks. Now, I'm a massive one for using maggot on the hook, single or double maggot on the hook, red or white, but feeding casters. I just think the beauty of casters, certainly for, just put them down, when you're looking to target lots of silverfish, I just think you draw them in better than you will with maggots. If it was more sort of skimmery, I'd go down the maggot approach every time. But with Roach in particular, casters, get that noise going in, get that bait group nice and accurate. It does make a big difference. So yeah, so bearing in mind, obviously we're going to be starting off on this short swim, so top kit in 3, but it'd be at least an hour before we even went on it in a match. But for all you lovely lot, we are fast forwarding everything, so I think without further ado, I'm going to swing round and get some fishes caught. Right then, folks, so we've done what you want to do out long. Yeah, you've had your hour and a half, whatever, catching loads of skimmers, but you've been constantly feeding this short line. I've not today, folks. I've only been feeding it for about 5 minutes, I promise. So it's fizzled out long, you come back short. This is what we're looking for. So first thing I'm going to pick up is me tapered rig, yeah, me one through the water. Now, 100% bait choice for me is always going to be a single maggot to start with, because it's letting me know exactly what's in my peg. If I went straight in balls deep on like a worm or caster or something like that, it might just take that little bit longer to get a bite. It might be the right bait that we need to go on to, but we need to get to that stage. So first thing I want to do is just literally just get a single red magpie out, hook it right through the tip as we do, and away we are going. So give that a quick dink under the water, and then we're getting going. So first thing I'm going to do as I'm going out is flick this rig out away from me. Yeah, I'm plumbed up, I said I'm plumbed up to the middle of the body. We've just got a tiny little bit of a slope there. So I'm going to flick it out away from us first. I've got my marker, a little baby pine tree over there, and I'm going to go for 2 lots of sort of 30-40 casters. I'm watching me float all the time. Once it's settled, which is settled now, and we had a bite straight away. Yeah, boy! How nice is that, folks? That's what you're looking for, yeah? So obviously, if my next one comes like that, and we get a bite pretty much straight away, it's a little baby hybrid. So it's got a roach in it, folks, a little baby hybrid, but it's fish like that are like proper weight builders. It's come through the blooming net, Richard. Hang on, just let me get him out of this. There's always something happens, isn't there, like this with me, folks. Either they fall off or they come through the blooming net. Right, so it's fish like that. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Nice stamp fish, sort of like 5-6 ounce, things like that. If the maggot was still on, I would change it. So I'm not going to change anything at the minute. But if we get another bite like that, or maybe another, I'm fast forwarding everything again, folks, aren't I? So I'll probably leave it a couple of fish, but if we get another one on the bottom like that, then what I'll do is obviously pick that other rig out, just so I'm getting down to them a lot quicker. So again, I'll flick that rig out, giving it 2 lots of casters. Remember, as always, folks, I don't want to be feeding past where I'm fishing on my float, or even better, sort of this side of it. Yeah, the majority of the bait. And your bait, just look at the state of that, folks. Have you ever seen anything like it? So you can see now why we're using a nice soft elastic. Yeah, cushions absolutely everything. And I'm not going to say we don't pull out of them, because you know it's going to fall off if I say that. So I'm going to fast forward it now. So them last 2, they've been on the bottom, but it can be this rig as well. This tapered rig is so important. Not just this time of year, but all times of year, folks. It's so important. Look at that. Absolutely. Look at the state of that, Richard. Like, literally never ever seen it up before, and I'm going to give myself 9.43 out of 10 for that hooking. Yeah, absolutely stunning fish. Now, again, match conditions, I'm catching quick enough. I would not be coming off this rig, but I want to see if we can get bites even quicker. So I'm going to go for my bulk and droppers. Remember, this has got 5 number 8s, and we've got 2 number 9s on, straight down. I'm not going to flick it out. I'm literally going to lay the rig out, bring me shots back over my marker and flop me float right over it. It's quite hard to say that without getting tongue twisted. Flop your float in. So nice and quick, rig out to the side, bring your shots over to your marker, flop your float, and then we're fishing very, very quick. So we're fishing like now. So we see if we can get a quicker bite. Again, 2 lots of feed, 2 lots of sort of 30, 40 casters, get that bait in. And then we're just waiting to see now. If there's a lot of fish there, we'll get a bite much quicker like that. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, probably similar. How good is this, folks? Probably similar time scale to that tapered one, but I don't know, it might have been a little bit quicker. What have we got here? Oh my days, look at the size. This roach is trying to do me in reeds. Trying to do me in blooming reeds. Ugh. Yes, it's fish like that. At the minute, it's so good, folks, isn't it? Look, just look at that. Look at them, folks. It just, oh, for me, this, oh, and this is why casters are so important rather than like maggots, yeah? Noise, grouping the bait much better. You just can't beat it. I'm going to have another go on that. At the minute, as I say, I wouldn't change anything. Wouldn't go to like double up baits, anything like that. Caster, why change anything when you're catching fish like that every chuck? So again, bulk a shot right over it, float over the top, 2 lots of feed. We're fishing now. Probably even get away with like a 4/16 there as well, folks, you know what I mean? So again, casters in over the top, always watch your float. Yeah, if you're getting like little dinks and that, or you've seen signs of swirls or anything like that, then obviously you know them fish are coming up in the water. But if you get, folks, honestly, yeah, so you wouldn't change anything at the minute. If you were sort of like noticing swirls, this, that and the other, or your float flickering, then 100% what you do is go on the shallow rig. I'm going to have another go on that one. I say it's pointless me just staying on, you know, one line for showing you today, folks. So what I'll do is I'm going to talk you through the different rigs. You've seen that tapered one, that's all about not leaving it any more than a minute, flicking it out, letting it come back to settle on that ledge, or flicking it left and right. This one is all about getting job done, straight down into them. That's our first bite we've missed, but that could be the sign that we need to tell us that the fish is starting to come shallow. We won't know that, but you can see how quick this one's fishing. Lay it out to the side, bulk a shot right back over, flop your float over it. Yes, that's another. So we've had 2 liners then. Oh, it's working out perfect, folks, isn't it? Absolutely perfect. So what I'll do after this one, I'll put the shallow rig on. Even if we don't get a bite, I just want to show you how the rig works and how we're going to lay that rig in. Don't feed, Andrew. You'll see me feeding change when we do go shallow, in that I'll be feeding a lot more often, but nowhere near as many amounts. The way I'm feeding now is for pinning them fish on the bottom. Yeah, 2 lots. Your first initial feed gets the fish into the peg. Your second feed draws the fish back down and keeps them exactly where you want them, yeah? When we go shallow, 12 to 15 casters, but every sort of 15 to 20 seconds. Get them competing, fish around your swim, you know what I mean? It can be phenomenal. More so for I, but definitely for Roach as well. So you see, like, all these bites we're missing now, I'd say signs of fish coming up in the water. So I'm not going to take too long. I'm going to pick the shallow rig up. It's pointless staying on the bottom. We missed 3 bites there. So that's the things that we're looking for, yeah? Them little tiny flicks. You saw what it was like when it was right. You know, them first 3 or 4 fish we've had, we've caught them instantly. We've not missed a bite, the fish have nailed it. But now they are coming up in the water. So I'm going to put that a tiny bit deeper, just so we go to, you see there, 2.5 foot. Yeah, so we've got to 2.5 foot. Move them stots up so everything is falling nice and even. Now this is where I'm going to change our hook my maggot. Remember, everything through the water, hook your maggot through the side. So squeeze your hook bait out, wait for reshards there. Squeeze your hook bait out, fold it over, and then we're just putting that hook right through the segment so it's following the maggot round, yeah? The best way of fishing the old wide world, this, folks, we're on about on it. But my feeding's going to change now. Rather than my 2 lots, I'm not going to pick as many casters up, but I'm going to feed a lot more often. Just before we go out, put some bait in, ship out nice and quick, and again, first things first, I'm going to flick past where I'm fishing. Now see, what I'll do is hold a tight line to them back shots, but that feed I'm not going to let, probably, there we go, yeah, that's it. This is just, oh my days. But It's all about reading what's going on in your peg. We knew it wasn't right fishing on the bottom, even like 30 seconds we knew it wasn't right. Because we had them missed bites, and when we were getting, oh folks, honestly, when we were getting them, obviously we've had them bites straight away. So look at them beautiful roach. How can you like ignore them, folks? It's just, oh, I'd go quiet and everything if I was on here today. I'd go quiet and just get my head down, catch 50-pounder roach. So again, that maggot were perfect. And this is even where, I'm going to say, even in the depths of winter, where potentially banded maggots can come into play. You know, when you're in a lot of fish like that, what I would say with stots, make sure you're checking your shotting pattern. Yeah, because they will move. That my last 11 stot then just moved up above my up length, so I've just moved it back down. So feed, flick your rig into it, and then make sure, you see I'm sat with my hand slightly over my knee, this hand's got to be in your bait all the time. So you're constantly putting that bait in. A little dink then, there's another little fish. It can be sometimes, them little babby fish will be the first ones to it. Yeah, another little babby hybrid. But when you get them going proper, oh, it's just amazing. When you get them big roach competing, or let's say everything you can think of will feed shallow, even in the depths of winter. But the first thing you've got to consider is reading what's going on. Yeah, use your float to read what's going on. Because of the fact that you're loose feeding all the time, you're going to be drawing, bloody hell, it didn't take long. You're going to be drawing lots and lots of fishing, so you're just reading what's going on in your peg. Now we know that one, from the angle of our float, my float was on sort of that kind of an angle, so we knew that was like really shallow. So if I get a lot of them, then what I'll do is just shallow up a little bit more, you know, maybe knock sort of 6-8 inches off it. But it shows you how quick it changes, doesn't it? From like catching on the bottom like that, it shows you how quick, oh folks, it shows you how quick beautiful roach will come up in the water like that. And other than that, folks, as I said, just keeping an eye on what's going on and reading your bites. That was like probably a foot under the surface or something, that one. It's all about reading what's going on in your peg. So if you start missing bites or foul looking them, things like that, then that's when you know something's not right, so you come a little bit shallower. If you stop getting bites, that's when you go back on the bottom, you know, with a tapered rig, because that's searching the water for you. When there's a lot of fish there and they don't want to come shallow, that's when your bulk and droppers will come into play, just get the job done. But folks, you've seen what it's like, and I can't go over anything else. That is literally the 3 rigs that I'd use. You've got to prime it for a bit first, and that is the beauty of it. Just read your swims all the time, use your float to read what's going on in the swim, and then you just have the best day ever. But get yourself on one of these kind of venues, folks, yeah, that get carp fished all through the summer, and these silvers get left alone, and oh, you'll just have the best day ever. Get on it, folks, get on the casters, keep windmilling them in, and then you'll go and have loads of fishes. This one? Or that one? Whichever you want. You're not bothered? No, I can do it. I've got to be consistent now. I can't be like that, can I? What? It does me head in. Do a dramatic angle. Did. Right, yeah?